putting the VCR in reverse, fast forward back to something, or reverse it back to something. And I went through a lot of VCRs back then because I used that reverse button a lot just to see camera angles. And the main thing that I was really focused on more than anything else was the action scenes, because I wanted to see what camera angles they were using when it came to the action scenes. And I would just be going back over the same thing over and over and over again. And I kept doing that. I went through a lot of VCRs in the process, but it didn't matter. The main thing is that I wanted to figure out the camera angles that they were using, and then I would write down on a pad how I figured this particular thing should go and how I figured that particular angle was done, and then I would go and practice them. And that's what enabled me to learn about doing fight scenes and about doing different scenes and the different camera angles and so forth. A lot of people now, filming is very hot here in Michigan, and a lot of people think that you can just get a camera and just start shooting, and they just don't understand. It's really more to it than that. Like I said, the movie Uncut was basically done with no budget. Well, I knew I didn't have a budget, so I knew I had to figure out ways to get around that, so you know, so I could be able to make things work without having a budget, and that's what I was able to do.
Go, go, go! We're trying to get ready. Let's go!
Doing a fight scene for independent film, doing a fight scene, period, is really, a lot of people think you can just put somebody together and just put together a fight scene and make it work, but it's more to it than that. And I have seen a lot of fight scenes that look terrible due to the fact that the people don't understand camera angles are so important when it comes to doing fight scenes. You got to know where to place the people. You've got to know the distance. You've got to teach them not only about the how to do the fight scene, but you got to also teach them how to sell the fight scene, how to make it sell. And when I say sell the fight scene, when I ask people, I ask them, when two people's in a fight, who's the most important person? Is it the star or the person that's taking the punch or the kick? And 95% of the time, matter of fact, 98% of the time, a lot of them will tell me the star. And I tell them, no, he's not. It's the person that's taking the punch. He's the most important person because he's got to sell it. If he doesn't sell it, then the star looks bad. So the person that's taking the punch has got to sell it. He's got to be able to sell it in order to make it work, in order to make it look believable. I see a lot of fight scenes where it just doesn't look believable. And then the facial expressions. The facial expressions are so important. You've got to have those facial expressions to top it off, and that makes it look even more believable. I see people doing scenes, you know, a lot of them. You know, especially in martial art, you see a lot of these martial artists, because they think they're good martial artists, they think that they can, you know, do a fight scene and be awesome in a fight scene, and they look terrible when they do one, because they don't understand that cinematic fighting and real life fighting is two different entities. I mean, they don't have nothing in common. You've got to really understand that those are two different categories, and you know, cinematic fighting it's just like learning to walk all over again. It's so much different than real life fighting. In films, in fight scenes, of course in a normal fight, a person would go a right cross like that, but in films, they actually extend it like a ballroom fight. It's actually extending the punch instead of coming across like that. They actually extend it and bring it, you know what I'm saying? They bring it all the way across, instead of just they put more emphasis on it. Just like same thing with the kick. Instead of a person just kicking right at the person's head, they actually go above the head, like they go right above the head instead of coming here. They kind of bring up higher to put that extra, you know what I'm saying, that dramatic effect they call it. Yeah. It's called dramatic effect. In a fight scene, a lot of people don't understand that you have to really make that punch or kick look like it actually made contact. You have to really, and the person on the other end have to really sell it. In other words, you know, I tell a lot of people when I'm setting up fight scenes to, you got to punch wider than you would usually punch, and it looks almost like you're telegraphing, but you have to kind of spread your punch out a little bit and come with a wider punch than you would if you were punching in a real fight. It's called, I call it dramatic effect. Same thing with the kick. Even if you're kicking at a person's head, still kick a little bit higher above the person's head, because it looks, people tend to enjoy that more in the movie. It looks so much better. Again, I call it dramatic effect. And when they see a person kick high, fans seem to really go for that. In the movie industry, they like to see a person be able to have that flexibility when it comes to punching or kicking, and be able to show off their flexibility. I mean, the kick may be much higher than the head, but the audience seems to like that. And so I tell people to punch a little higher, kick a little higher than they normally would kick, and bring the arm out a little bit wider and punch than what they would normally punch when, you know, if they were in a real fight. You know, I have to let them know that you have to separate the two as far as what's real and what's not realistic. And then you got to make the fight scene look realistic, and this is where a good director comes in, a good choreographer comes into play. You've got to have a choreographer that really understands about putting together a fight scene, which is something that I really practice on a lot. I love action scenes. I love action scenes, and again, like I said before, you've got to have the right camera angles, and the little things when you're putting together a fight scene means so much. You know, when I was putting together some of the fight scenes for this film, a lot of the guys were wondering, well, what you need this particular small shot for? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? I say, just do it. Just trust me. When you see it after I put it all together, then you'll understand why I was doing this or doing that. It may not seem like it makes sense when I'm doing it, but after you see the results afterwards, then you'll understand why I actually got that little shot here or got that little shot there, and getting the different close-up shots of the face, of the facial expression, or getting a shot of the foot or the hand, or getting a close-up shot of the hand on the foot, or a close-up shot of a body being hit or something like that. All those are important when it comes to doing fight scene. It comes in, I mean, it just makes the scene look so much better, and the action. I mean, it really adds to the action when you're watching a fight scene.
Beat that ass. Come on, man. Let me
Punk my bitch ass, nigga. Get that motherfucker.
Get that motherfucker's ass. Get up, bitch. Whole ass nigga. Shit, bitch. Bitch, be still. Please. Get up. Oh, man.
Come on, motherfucker.